everyone. It is such a pleasure to be with you once again on this Sunday evening. I am your host, ArthyLLL, and this is the Imagine Me TV network. Real talk, real life, real issues. This is the show where we bring on real people. They better be real. And where we talk about the daily challenges, we talk about our victories, we talk about our challenges, the positive, the negative, but we bring it all together and to let you guys know how God works in our life. I'm thankful to God that I'm sitting here. I'm gonna give you guys a full story sometime soon, so you gotta keep coming back every Sunday. I was in a car accident, but I'm here to tell to leave and tell about it. My back still hurts. I'm in therapy and all that, but God is good. He has me here for a reason, and there's so many amazing things that He's doing. I am truly, truly excited. So I'm going to tell you just a little bit about our guest tonight. It's going to be an amazing interview. I just know that. But before I tell you a little bit about it, I want you guys to go ahead and invite your friends, invite your cousin, share this live. We are live on YouTube. We are live on Facebook, Imagine Me TV, Roku, all these different platforms that we're on. So I really want you to go invite your friends and invite everyone. And before we go into the commercial break, I'm going to just read just a little bit about our guest. Dr. James C. Birdsong Jr., an award-winning gospel music industry professional and national published author, a strong influence in the gospel music industry and entertainment arena. Dr. Birdsong brings his leadership and experience to this organization for African American youth so that they can become voices for future generations. See, he's right down my alley because you guys know that I have this nonprofit and that we deal with youth as well. We have the Imagine Me movement, which is for girls 13 to 19. And this is what we're supposed to do because the word of God said for those of us that are a little older to take care of the younger ones. So I'm so excited to be here on Imagine Me TV, real talk, real issues, real people. Invite your friends, invite your family. And we just want to say thank you. We know we have people listening from all over the world. So we just want to say thank you. And we're going to go into a break and we'll be back in a couple minutes. Thank you. And there we are. Woo! Praise God. Welcome to Imagine Me TV, real talk, real issues. I'm your host, ArthyLLL, and I am so excited and delighted to be back live. You know, we've had a few bumps in the road, but we're getting back on track. The month of February, we're gonna have an amazing lineup. From there on, we're gonna take the bull or something by the horn, and we're just gonna move forward into what God has for us. So guys, if you're ready, we are going to welcome Dr. James C. Birdsong to the screen. Good afternoon, good night, good morning. How are you?
God bless you, Arlene. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. It's Sunday. I had a really good day, so I'm just really thankful to be alive.
Amen to that. That's a good thing.
Yes, you know that a lot of times we don't realize that. If I
Hmm.
can hear you, if I can talk to you and see you, I'm alive. I'm like, you know what? Thank God, because there are some people that are not alive. I can talk about even my dad. I'm wearing a replica of his hat. This is actually my brother's own because my sister took my dad's own, so I had to get one. And he's no longer here with us. January this year made it a year since his passed, but I'm happy to be alive in the land of the living, giving God praise. But we're gonna jump right into the interview because we want to get as much of your story out there so we can empower and encourage our viewers. So first, we're gonna jump into it. You have an anointing and powerful testimony that blessed so many people. Can you share about the miracle that happened in your life? But you know what? Let's see. Let's first of all just tell them who you are. Just right now, this is who I am. This is what I do. Just a little bit, and then get into the story of the 3 year old when you were 3 year old. So go ahead. We're gonna put you on the full screen. It's yours, my brother. Just share it for our audience.
Sure. Thank you so much, Arlene. And before I begin, I like the hat you wearing. That's my style.
Yeah. Oh,
Yes.
well, it's mine though. You're not getting it.
Yeah, I had some Stacey Adams hats myself. So yeah, so um I'm born and raised in Richmond, California. And those of you who's watching all over the world right now, Richmond, California is located in the San Francisco Bay Area. The city is located northeast across the bay from San Francisco and north of Oakland. So I'm from Cali, California, born and raised, bred in the Bay Area. And so I was raised in the church. I was blessed to be surrounded with a beautiful, loving, supportive family. My father, the late Reverend James C. Birdsong Sr., was a gifted singer who had opportunity to record back during the golden age of gospel music. But my father didn't get a chance to pursue that. But he was a minister and a public figure in my hometown. He was in the group I called the Icons of Richmond, all the legends and icons in my hometown. He passed in 1997 during my last week of my high school 11th grade year when I was in finals. And my mother's Belinda Germany Birdsong. So my parents, raised me up, and encouraged me and pushed me to strive for excellence alone. And I was blessed with teachers and those in my life that they saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. And so when I talk to young people, one of the things I tell them is that God is going to have those in your life that's going to encourage you and push you along the way. And so that's what they did with me, and now God's allowed me to do that with this generation today. And so, I am a aspiring gospel singer, songwriter. I'm a national published author. I'm a motivational speaker. I spoke at graduations in churches over the years, and I'm an entrepreneur and an advocate for to our young people. And I am a professional in the gospel music industry who I've been blessed to be connected with people all over the United States and abroad in this genre of music.
Awesome. That is great. That's amazing, and I'll appear on the screen very soon. That is really, really awesome. So, but tell us though. You said is it an author? Something you said, but I think I missed it though. That I know that
Mhm.
is the goodness of God. I know it is the goodness of God, and I love all the different parts to your story because I know it's going to be empowering, and encouraging. But tell us about
Mhm.
the 3 year old. What happened? The miracle that happened in your life at 3 years old.
Sure, and thank you so much, Arlene, for addressing this question. I've been blessed to share this testimony story on multiple media platforms, TV, radio, magazines throughout the United States and abroad. When I was about 13 months old, my parents noticed that something was going on with me, because when children are growing from infants to toddlers, they begin to speak words and so forth. But in my case, it was a struggle for me. My mother told me years later that she said, James, you would try to speak, you would be humming. Even though my father was a well-known public figure in Richmond, California, everybody in the city knew my dad. The preachers, the school officials, the mayors, the city council officials, they all knew my father because he was among that group. And so, with any parents, when their children are going through things like this, they like, I don't know what to do. I'm at the crossroads. I don't know what to do. And yes, even though we were going to church and so forth. And so in 1983, Arlene, 1983, my parents, they were still, doing what they were doing. A Church of God in Christ pastor, his name was Elder Robert Lee Crawford. I shared this story many, many times, and it's going to help somebody, especially our young people.
Yeah.
He was living in Joliet, Illinois. Joliet, Illinois, I'm sure you heard of the city. It's south of Chicago.
Yeah.
So Okay, so him and his wife, the late Mother Betty Crawford, Mother Crawford was my mother's mentor. They came to Richmond, California from Joliet, Illinois, because Elder Crawford was in town to preach at a revival for a whole week. He was supposed to just come there to preach at a revival, but he ended up becoming the pastor of Now Faith Church of God in Christ. Now, growing up in Richmond, California, I'm most like most Black you. I'm a product of the inner city. We had the storefront churches, the corner stores and all of that. But I grew up in a loving, tight knit community. And so everybody knew everybody, the neighbors, we all knew everybody. So Elder Crawford was one of those old school Holy Ghost filled Pentecostal preachers, the ones that the Lord reveals something to them, and God's going to show it to them, and they're going to tell you what the Lord said to them. You know where I'm going with this.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm this is going to help somebody. So one day Elder Crawford goes to my mother. And he says to my mother these words, Arlen. He says, Sister Birdsong, if you receive Jesus Christ into your life and get filled with the Holy Ghost, he said, and God will hear your son to speak. Because God revealed my condition, my struggle to speak to Elder Crawford. And he also told my mother, before your son go to bed at night, Sister Birdsong, anoint his head and pray for him. So, because back then my mom was seeking God during that same time. And so we live in a two-story Victorian house. Now, Arlene, the house that we live in was built in 1914. It was owned by the Bruner family. And those of us that's from the San Francisco Bay Area, the Bruner family were the owners of the Bruner's furniture store. My parents, we used to shop at the one in my hometown. And so we lived there, and our house was a gathering place. See, I lived at the corner of Main Avenue and Harbor Way South in Richmond, California. And so everybody, like from the family, the dignitaries, church members, people would always coming over to the Birdsongs. And I shared this on multiple platforms. And so we would have church services in our downstairs living room. And Arlene, when I was a little boy, my mother would, my mom would have household plans. She had the living room, dining room laid, and I still have those old Polaroid photos from the '80s in the family photo album. You remember those Polaroid cameras back in the '80s?
Yeah.
You take the picture, and the picture will come out in front of the camera.
You gotta shake
See,
it.
I'm an '80s baby, and '90s teenage, so I remember that. So this particular day, Mother Crawford was out of town. I don't know if she went back to Joliet or not. So Elder Crawford and the neighbors and my parents and I, we was downstairs in our living room having a church service. And the only thing I can remember is Arlene is that they put this 3-year-old African American boy, me, on the coffee table. And I remember this very well. I was 3 years old at the time. And I know somebody's going to say, you remember that, James? Yes. God's anointing came upon me, Arlene, and I spoke in tongues at that age.
Oh wow.
True story. And my father told me years later when I got a little older, he said, son, I was trying to hold you, but something told me to turn you loose. He told me this years later. And the next thing you know, I'll be upstairs. See, the room I had was my late grandmother Charlene Birdsong's room. my grandmother died New Year's 1980. My father was born. That was my father's mother, and my family is watching this segment right now. They watching this, and so I'll be upstairs in my room, and I would take all my stuffed animals from the Chester drawer and line them up. And I had a black toy vet. I had a black toy Corvette. Love playing with that toy Corvette when I was a little boy. And I would snap the wheels off of that toy Corvette, Arlene, and I'll be having church in the room while my mom and dad will be standing by the door before dinner time. So that right there helped me in my journey in public speaking as well. And so and after that miracle happened, I attended public schools from all the way to I was 18 in the special education program, and I shared this on multiple media platforms. But I thank God because even though I was born with a developmental disability that resulted, with the motor delays with the speech and everything, my teachers, they saw greatness in me. They say, James, you're gonna be somebody. They push me, and some of those same teachers that I remember, they most of them retired now. They say, James, we're proud of you because they I have a lot of followers on Facebook, and they say everywhere you go, James, we're gonna support you. So that right there, allowed me to what God's had me to do. So I'm just grateful that He placed people in my path that helped me along the way. And this generation today need to have that as well. So it's like passing it down from when I was growing up to the next generation. So those memories will always remain in my heart and so forth. So I'm
Yes.
grateful for that.
I believe a lot of times we go through different challenges just,
Hmm.
to encourage somebody else. So tell us a little bit. You just talk a little bit about your the developmental disability and going to school. And we
Hmm.
know it's pretty much we see a lot of that
Hmm.
days. Tell us, what was your experience like going to school, even maybe the school, and how long did that last?
Arlene, see me as an 80s baby and a teenager in the 90s, it was different, and all of my 80 babies that's watching right now as millennials, and I can say this too. I had a blessed childhood. I had it so much fun in school. I had my friends I played with in school and in the neighborhood. But the first school I attended was No Learning Center. It was in Richmond, California. It was a school for children, in special education and so forth. The school is no longer in existence. So that was the first school I attended. I used to ride the school bus from there, and they would pick up all the other children. We would go there. This is after when I received the miracle that happened in my life. There was this Caucasian young man that I met. His name is Ian, and he was my childhood friend. Now he lived in Kensington, California. That's between El Cerrito and Berkeley in the hills. And his parents are Dave and Linda. So me and him and my parents, his parents, we would be always be together. I would go over his house. They would come over to visit us. We'll go to each other birthday parties. So Ian and I attended four different. We attended school from that time all the way to third grade, and I went back to this school, elementary school, or Ella Horse Elementary in Pernod for one more year, and he went to another school. So I remember that I had a wonderful, like I said, a blessed childhood. My cousins, family members, they will always come over to the house. So I grew up around a loving people environment and so forth. But like I said, with school, it was wonderful. I had so much fun. I love going on field trips, and like the teachers, they will always attend to me and so forth, because all of my head, they say, James, you're gonna be rich and famous. You're gonna go very, very, very far. So I just thank God that I attended school back during that time, because it's different now, because I have younger cousins and they know my story. They know what all that, and they say, cousin James, I wish I would have was born when you and our mom and all were growing up, because we had fun. We really did.
Yeah, it's different. It's different now, but we should have still want to express in those say, how can today's youth be impacted and what needs to be done? And I know you have a lot for the young people and working with them. So talk to us on that.
Well, sure. I have younger cousins, and and I've been blessed to speak to young people in schools and churches throughout the years. I haven't done that recently, except for a school that I visit before Thanksgiving. Because my organization is working with them through the partnership with the Atlanta Public Schools, and I'm gonna share that in doing this segment. One of the things I could relate to what they're going through and what they want to do, because I tell them I could relate because I've been there. I know how it feels to be bullied and teased.
Mhm.
I know how it feels to go through this and go through that and everything. But I tell them, you cannot be a quitter. You cannot give up. Uh, my mind goes back to MC Hammer. He was my favorite rapper when I was coming up. He did a song called "Too Legit to Quit." And so I share that with them. So I'm God's allowed me to do my part to be an impact towards them, as they go on their journey, especially what I do in the entertainment industry.
Well, that's amazing. And again, iron sharpens iron, and it's if we can, even all of us have different ministry, we're called to do different things, but if we can take our experiences and help somebody else, that's really amazing. You are a nationally published author. How
Mhm.
did that process start, becoming an author?
Well, sure. I'm gonna go into the '90s, because I love history and current events. By the 1990s, Arlene, things started changing in our home environment. My parents were going through marital issues, and it will affect a child though. So I went through that and so forth. It's a whole lot, but God was with me and He brought me through it. So when I was 14 years old, I was attending John F. Kennedy High School in Richmond, California, for my ninth grade year, and the year before my parents officially divorced, they divorced in 1995. I was in my room, and my mother was attending a community college back then. So she would give me, like, line paper for school and everything. And I just started writing out the book and everything. What I did was I did it on line paper, and I did that for about 3 years. And then when my parents divorced when I was 15, I transferred from John F. Kennedy High School in Richmond, California, and me and my mother moved to Fairfield, California. That's in the northern part of the Bay Area. You cross the Carquinez Bridge, you're in Vallejo, then Fairfield, and before you get to Sacramento. And Fairfield is home to Travis Air Force Base. I'm sure you heard of them. Air Force Base is
Mhm.
it's known all over the country. We live not too far from there. So when I was at Fairfield High School, I continued to work on the book while doing ministry, and with my classmates and so forth. And next thing you know, while I was doing that, everybody my name started getting noticed throughout the city. They started calling me the pastor of Fairfield High School and everything else. And everybody, they remember me in Fairfield, California. To this day, they remember this because they was on this journey with me. So when I was 16, my mother purchased a brother word process. I know you remember this, the typewriter connected to the monitors.
Mhm. Oh,
Yes. Yeah, the word price connection monitor, because I was taking a computer class for my 10th grade year at Fairfield High School, and Mr. Towner, who was like the computer teacher during that time, he was actually, well, I took him when I was in 11th grade. My mom purchased his word processor for me, and Mr. Towner said, "James, practice on that." And so I took what I did from writing the book on notebook paper and typing the actual manuscript. So the book was completed when I was 17, and it didn't come out till 2000. One Marriage, Many Tales, and a Separation, and Message of Hope. And it's my memoirs, but it talked about my story, but my parents' story, going through this and going through this and going through that. And so years later, I said, you know what? I'm grown now. I'm gonna kind of like redo this book again, but add more to it. So the best is yet to come comes to mind. And I'm gonna tell you how this came about, Arlene, and to all the people that's watching right now. In 2014, I moved back here to Atlanta, Georgia, after living back in California for about about 2 years. And so I was living in Riverdale, Georgia at the time. And so the Lord allowed me to start working on The Best Is Yet to Come, a testimony, one young man's redemption. So I took what I did with the first book and applied to this, adding more. And so what I did was I talked about the history of the Birdsong family, my family, what they did in the entertainment industry, and plus, my journey. I talked about my parents' story, my mom's story, my father's story, and plus, other information and how we could take our best is yet to come and return that into our redemption that will help others. So the book came out in 2017. And what I did was I went to Los Angeles, California with my mother, and I did a book signing for my family in Compton. I had two famous gospel singers there that go way back, they've been in the industry for years, and another artist. Then one of the nation's oldest black newspapers was there. They did an excellent interview and write up. The politicians came out and honored me that day. So I wanted to do this for my family. And after that, then I had a publicist at that time, Arlene. And the next thing you know, Babby Mason had me on her show, Atlanta Live on Channel 57, and other media outlets. And it's continued to going and going and going out there. And the people that read the book, they said, James, I didn't know all this. You come from a racial legacy. All you've been through, you didn't let that hold you and stop you from going for what God had for you. So the book is still touching lives.
That's an awesome story, and that is why we do this. We have this show because we
Mhm.
want to empower people, let them know no matter what you've been through, your story
Yeah.
has value. And we want, if someone's listening, we always say, if you're listening and you have a story you want to share, call us, let us know, because we will find a way to get you on the show. We're gonna go into a quick break. When we come back, I know you have a copy of the book. You can show us the book and just talk just a bit more, because I think you put like different parts of it together. So we're gonna
Mhm.
just go into a break, and then when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about it. And we are back. This is Imagine Me TV, real talk, real issues, real life. And I am so delighted and excited to be on here. And I want to give a shout out. I just took a quick look at my Facebook, and shout out to Sister Joan Loader over there in Dominica. I know she's one of our faithful viewers. And I still haven't given a call to your friend yet. I'm going to get him on the show. So remind me about that. But thank you for always supporting. And so everybody else that's watching, I know Dr. Birdsong's family are watching. We have our friends and Tigger and all of them watching. We're going to talk about that a little more, about a friend that we have in common. But just, I know you have a picture of the book, so we'll put you on full screen and talk to us a little bit more about the book, and you can show it to everyone, let them know where they can purchase the book. So go ahead and take it away.
Thank you so much, Arlene. To all the viewing audience, you heard me talk about The Best Is Yet to Come, a testimony, one young man's redemption. And this is the actual book right here. It's 25 chapters, and it's a thick book. And also I want to show you all, this is me as a baby in 1980. Yeah, that's me as a baby in 1980. So the book is 25 chapters. One of the chapters I talked about, I told my story of how I started my journey in the gospel music industry. I grew up singing around the house. I was in the choir, and when I got older, I actually had a vocal coach and so forth. But I didn't start this journey until I was 16 years old. I wrote a paper in high school about the gospel music. Got an A on my paper, and next thing you know, I will be at the library during our lunch break, going on the websites of the artists, the record labels, and I said, Lord, if you bless my family in music, but if I'm going to be successful in the industry, I gotta learn the business. And I tell people, you could sing and write and play all you want to, but you got to know the business, because you got to know about copyrights, contracts, marketing, what record labels do, the difference between independent and major, the music charts, all of that. So I showed that story. Then I did another chapter in the book. I talk about my cousins, the legendary, iconic R&B legend Cindy Birdsong of the Supremes, Otis Birdsong, the legendary NBA All-Star pro basketball player, and my beloved cousin, the late Edwin Birdsong, who recorded in the '70s, and a lot of the rappers sample his music later on. He worked with Stevie Wonder, who is a close friend of the Birdsong family, and other artists throughout the years. And then I did another chapter. I'm encouraging our young people and what parents and the adults should do to be a positive influence in their life. And the final chapter is titled "The Best Is Yet to Come," of what lessons I learned as the book was being written. And throughout the book, I talk about historical accounts during the '80s and '90s and 2000s. I even did a chapter about 9/11, because I like history, current events. And I talked a little bit about Michael Jackson, because I grew up on Michael Jackson as a child, like we all did. Yes, and matter of fact, my favorite album by him was Bad. I remember the TV commercials and Pepsi and all of that. And so I talked about that and everything else. So it's something there for everybody. And there's biblical passages in there. I talked about, what I was going through in our home environment, and and something that encouraged not only the young but the old. Because Arlene, I even have older people. I'm talking about the ones that want to be our grandparents. They be telling me, you are inspiration to us, elders. And this is one gentleman I've been knowing. He's almost 90 years old. He watched me grow up, and he was good friends with my dad. He knows my mom. He be telling me sometimes, in a playful way, I want to be just like you when I grow up. Wow. So there's something there for everybody in this book. And the people who had purchased it and read it, and even the industry, they gave positive reviews. They could be ordered at Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, Books a Million, and they could go to any Barnes and Nobles and Books a Million. They could order it at the actual store. It's not on the shelf, but they actually order it there. So the book's been out for 4 years now.
Okay. Well, just show us a picture of it again and give the title of it. That way, someone is looking, they can know what the title is and they can go look for it.
Sure. Okay. This is the book right here.
Very good. Awesome. The best is yet to come, and that's a real positive statement that I use it, because then when things are happening, I'm like, what, the best is yet to come. And you mentioned about the music industry. We're gonna go talk about it a little bit. I know, and that's how we actually connected, because I was one of the presenters for the Antigua and Bermuda Gospel and Media show, awards show, which is I was stature over there in Antigua, and I want to give a shout out to her. She's a great supporter, a nice person to work with, and really is out there in the islands empowering and trying to get this gospel music artists out there. So we really say thank you, our stature. And guys, if you have not followed her on Facebook, check out is the Antigua and Bermuda Gospel and Media Awards. If you have someone you want to nominate or to send, you want them to get an award, well, I'm not saying she's just going to give them one. I guess there's still steps that they have to take, but just check it out. Send us the names, or you can nominate them if you need the information. I can send it to you. James can send it to you. But So I think it was last year when we were on. You received I think the Impact award. So can you tell us more about it, and maybe even talk a little bit more? I know you've had numerous awards, a lot of them. So
Yeah.
just talk to us um, about some of the awards that you've received, and just encouraging, which I think would encourage someone that regardless of what you face, and even when
Mhm.
you may have certain uh, sickness or disability or whatever it is, that
Mhm.
should not stop you. But I think a lot
No.
of things are in our mind as well too. And then, but we thank you for the we thank God for His love and His mercy and His healing. So someone today may be hear something about your story, and I would encourage them. So talk to us about receiving that award and some of the awards that you've received.
Sure. Thank you so much, Arlene, and to the viewing audience. As you said it last year, we can when you mentioned about the ABGMA Awards, I do remember when it was getting close to the 2 day affair. Stan Shaw, and that's my friend. She's definitely is a supporter and a fan of mine for real. So I want to give a big God bless you to her. And actually, yesterday I did a live interview on her broadcast called Joyful Noise Radio Show, and it was a blessing. So last year, when it got closer to the ABGMA Awards, I was being interviewed for press week, and so Arlene was actually was one of the interviewers for that. So last year during the ABGMA Awards, they honored several people, and I was one of the honorees. I was presented the Impact Award in music for my contributions and what I had done in the gospel music industry here in the United States and even around the world. And this is a blessing because this is my first award that I received from out of the country. Like you mentioned, Arlene, I've been blessed to receive numerous awards. So I'm gonna show the viewing audience the Impact Award right now.
Awesome, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so this is it right here, everybody. This is it right here.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. So, and also, and just a few about maybe about 2 or 3 weeks before I was honored with that award, I was in Columbus, Ohio, October 9th for the 2021 8th Annual Kingdom Image Awards, and I was nominated for Influencer of the Year. There was 4 other nominees in that category, and I was the winner that night. So, I received that one. And then the Gospel Artists Music Association out of Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, which I'm a member of, they did their first Gamma Awards. It was virtually. They honored Dr. Bobby Jones, who I met and spoke to, and I actually am connected with two of his choir members that were on the show with him. They were on BET some years ago. They honored Dr. Bobby Jones, myself, and some other people in the industry with the Gamma Awards. And also Arlene, I'm listed in Who's Who in America since 2004. And 2019, they presented me the Albert Nelson Marquis Lifetime Achievement Award. And this is the highest award presented by Marcus Who's Who Publications. They publish Who's Who in America, Who's Who in the world, Who's Who among women, Who's Who in politics. And this award was presented to me, and the late General Colin Powell received this award, and Warren Buffett, who is a billionaire business magistrate, I received that award. And here in the state of Georgia, I received the Georgia Outstanding Citizen Award by our Secretary of State. And there's other awards and accolades. And last year, New Covenant International Bible College out of Columbia, South Carolina, they bestowed on me 2 honorary doctorate degrees, one in scarce music and one in scarce letters. And I'm also a candidate for another honorary doctorate degree. So it's more than that. That's just some of the many of the awards and
That is
accolades.
wonderful. That is pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. Wow. And I'm sure it's well deserving. I mean, just listening to your story, I was like, wow, how does he keep all this stuff in his brains? Because I might so much stuff like I could put it on one hand what my brain's keeping. I was like, well, I'm listening to you, and you go way back. You go, woo, you remind me of someone I know. But let's keep on going because I know what time is almost done.
Okay.
One of the questions I like to always ask, if the gospel artists, what name if there's a challenge that you can talk to us about. What is one of the challenge that you have faced being a gospel artist in the industry and with everything balancing the secular and the gospel? What is one of the challenge that you face in that industry?
Well, there could be challenges in this industry. Like for example, when I was living back in Northern California, like I said, when 2000 came, Arlene, God was dealing with me about moving here to Atlanta, Georgia. I was in my early 20s, and everybody was talking about Atlanta, Georgia is the mecca for blacks and all that. Because some of my friends and I went to high school, we were all talking about Atlanta, this, Atlanta, that. And even though I'm from the Bay Area, and the Bay Area produced the famous Hawkins family, Tremaine Hawkins, the late Edwin Walter Hawkins, Lynette Hawkins Stevens, the Hawkins family, things started changing in the industry back where I'm from during that time. So I was like, Lord, I'm gonna have to go to where it is, because one thing I learned is that when you a lot of times you have to leave what I call your homeland. It doesn't matter if it's music or not, and go to a foreign land where you could grow and prosper. And when I mean by prosper, I'm not talking about just finances. I'm talking about in general, the
Yeah.
grow and so forth. In other words, if you're not getting the support at home, then God will take you to another place where you've never been before, so you can grow and get the support and everything. That's what happened with me. So it was a challenge for me back home in California to to get into this. So I had to leave and come here, and next thing you know, one thing led to the next, and now God has taken that and enlarged the territory, and is on the
Amen.
national international stage now.
Amen.
So
Praise,
that
praise
was
God.
one thing. So
That's
so
how
it,
it works.
mhm. So
So
it's gonna be challenges.
you've had so many great achievements, but if you had to just pick one to date, what would be your greatest achievement so far?
You know what? I'm glad you asked that question. And actually, somebody interviewed me and asked me this question. I'm going to share the same thing with this audience. Uh, uh, Establishing Birdsong Association of Broadcasting and Arts, and God placed this in my spirit when at 2018. But I'm gonna go back when I was 14 years old. When I was 14 years old, I was in the eighth grade. I was attending Adams Middle School in my hometown. The school is no longer in operation. So one day I was going to a grocery store called Safeway with my godmother, and I'm asking everybody to continue to keep my godmother in your prayers. Please keep her up in your prayers. So we were going to the store because I will help her out. She watched me grow up, and her daughter, who is 10 years older than me, that's my big sister right there, god sister. So my godmother asked me, she said, James, what do you want to do when you grow? What do you see yourself doing? And one of the things I told my godmother, her name is Luzanne, I said, I want to help the young people. But I did not know that conversation was going to end, transcend into this organization. So in 2018, the Lord placed in my spirit to go ahead and get this started, but it wasn't incorporated until 2019. Birdsong Association of Broadcasting and Arts is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We are located here in Atlanta, Georgia, and we're going to have three additional operations: Los Angeles, California, serve LA, those areas, New York City, and Washington, D.C. And this organization is designed to help our African American youth from K to 12th grade to pursue their dreams of the performing arts and media broadcasting. So what we're going to do is have various programs, initiatives. We have a partnership with the Atlanta Public Schools with our main operations here, because we actually working with Benjamin E. Mays High School. And I want to give a big God bless you to Benjamin E. Mays High School. I had a chance to go to speak to the music and media students there before Thanksgiving last year. And we're going to do an annual gospel concert and awards get as a benefit. We're going to partner with our historical Black colleges and do scholarships and everything on the list. And later this year, we are planning to do. We actually planning this now. We're gonna be doing a a virtual conference with panelists in the industry on how we can mentor our Black youth, and that's going to be launched all over the United States. So we actually reaching out to people in the industry now and media broadcasting with more to be contacted, and you'll be hearing about this in the upcoming months. So we working on that right now, and we're gonna be doing a major marketing campaign for the organization as a whole, and I just thank God for the support we're getting so far. And He blessed me with a wonderful secretary, treasurer, and 12 board members so far with this organization.
Awesome. Very good. Congratulations. Congratulations and all
Thank
of
you.
this. And this, we give God praise. And your story will help so many people because, it's very encouraging. Going through life, though, is there anything that you regret? Have you had any regrets, or is there one thing that you regret?
I really that really haven't came to my mind. You, really haven't came to my mind anything like that. But I will say this though. Even though we live in a different time, Arlene, sometimes I see myself going back to when I was a child, and I'll be saying to myself, Lord, if we had a time machine to step back in time. I wish I could go back to when I was, a little boy and all of that and so forth. Matter of fact, when I was writing The Best Is Yet to Come, a testimony of one young man's redemption, my mind went back to those memories. And when I did a chapter about when I lost my father 2 years after my parents' divorce, the emotion came upon me. So I'm just, I will say that, but God has blessed with everything that I dream and prayed about, and some of the things that's going on with me right now. I was not expecting it to happen. It goes right back to the prophecy and what it was told to me from a little boy, James. You're gonna be somebody. You're gonna be well known. And everything. Like I wasn't expecting to be in Who's Ruled America and all that. As a matter of fact, last year in 2021, the United States Congress honored me a Capitol hit in the congressional record.
Congratulations. Wow. Awesome.
Yes,
That's
yes,
amazing.
and
That's
I and
amazing.
yes, and I
Ooh,
want to thank Congressman David Scott, my congressman, for making this possible.
that's awesome. That's awesome. When other people can see you and recognize your greatness, that is just a blessing. And then the good thing is that you pouring back into the young people, and that
Yeah.
in itself is a blessing to have a nonprofit that's working with the youth, and that's what we have even with Restore to Empower and Imagine Me. We have the Imagine
Hmm.
Me Girls movement. I know we talked about collaborating, and both of us
Yes.
have so much going on. We'll find a way to make it happen this year where we bring the boys and the girls together and just do something. But yeah, I'm really just thankful to God for you and congratulations
Thank you.
on all these amazing endeavors. And I know what time has come. I want to answer the question because we know that sometimes people look at us and it's like, oh, even as a Christian, they've just had it good and things. Can you remember a time where, oh, give us an example where you disobeyed God and what were the consequences and what did you learn from it?
Well, one of the things I want to share is when I was like in high school, I didn't have no girlfriend, dating or anything like in high school, even though there were when I was growing up, everybody would say James get all the girls and there was and I dealt with some jealous boys and when I was in school and everything. I talked about that in my book and everything. And so when I was in my 20s, I was focusing on moving to Atlanta, going to college, pursuing the industry with the singing, the business part, and everything like that. So when I got into my 30s, Arlene, I've been in relationships and dated and everything, but it wasn't that I thought it was and everything. And people kept telling me, James, it's gonna happen. It's not time yet. They were not the ones for you. But you know what? When I turned 40 years old last year in 2020, God had answered my prayers. He blessed me with a special young lady in my life. She's watching right now, who's been supportive with me and everything like that. So I had to go through all of that mistakes from that to get to that right person.
Yeah,
So that's your question. That right there.
amazing. Yeah, and that's the good thing about it that when we walk through this path or when we do things a certain way and
Hmm.
learn from it, and then we see God gives us His best. And
Yes.
we want to encourage people that are listening that you may be going through a rough time, you may hit some rough patches. Don't give up. Keep trusting God. And
No.
when we do wrong, just like sometimes our parents punish us, sometimes there are consequences to our actions. But it's
You better say that.
they do it so we can learn and we can do better. So I want to encourage anyone that's watching to not give up. Just be encouraged. Your time is gonna come, whether it's a home, a car, a husband, or your
Hmm.
time is gonna come. Sometimes people give up too quickly when they feel like things are not working. But
Hmm.
we are going to just take a really quick break, and then we're gonna close off when we come back. So I want you to be thinking about letting people know where they can reach you and anything that you have coming up. That's gonna be the last thing we talk about. Any projects that you have coming up, any support that you need, we will talk on that once you get back. And we're just gonna just take a quick break and put on a commercial, and then we'll be right back. And we just want to say thank you for those that have been watching with us and those that are joining us later, those that will go back and watch this television show. This is Imagine Me TV, real talk, real issues, real life. This is the show where we talk about the many challenges, the victories, the disappointments, everything that we go through. We just bring out the real person, the real things, not just sugar coated. And I've been speaking to Dr. James C. Birdsong Jr., and he has just a really awesome testimony and story. I want you, if you just join and go back and look at it, you can see it on Roku, Amazon Fire, uh, pretty much all the live streaming platform. So, but I just want to thank him. And even as you guys saw, it's flashing the commercial that we just had about Imagine Me TV. This is, and with our nonprofit we have as well. That's what we want to do. We want to impact our community. We want to make a difference. And we want to encourage those that are around us that your dream is possible. I put a post on Facebook this week. A little black girl from the island of Dominica, and if I have to tell you guys my story when I was little, that's a whole, we'll go into that later on. But to see how God put me in a huge platform this week, and I'm telling you, your dreams are possible. If God has given you a dream, do not let somebody else tell you that, hey, I don't think this is what you should be doing. If God spoke to you, make sure you keep that dream, even as the Bible says, write it on the tablet of your heart, wrap it around you. Just stay with the dream. Sometimes it may look like it's not going to happen. It may take 7 years, it may take 12 years. But just know that if God has deposited this dream in you, if God has given you that vision, stay with it. And I can tell you there's so many different steps that God has taken me through. If He had shown me some of the path before, I would say, no way, I'm not doing this. So I know to encourage someone today. The journey that you're on, you are called by God. You are called to change the life of someone. I know I did a lot of stuff, and I'll be watching and say, God, all these people I'm helping, they're doing well, they're doing well. You may help someone and you think that they're doing better than you. Keep on doing. If God, you're called to give, keep on giving, keep on serving, keep on loving, keep on praying, because God has a plan for each and every one of us. He said in His word that He created us a masterpiece. And yeah, we have my brother right here talking about the goodness of God. And even as we close the show, he's gonna just give us his closing words. And one thing I had a note there that I read in your bio that you were an ordained pastor, and I mean, we're like brothers and sisters. We do a lot. Just they
Hmm.
say Jamaican have nine jobs. I think we must have Jamaican relatives. They think.
Yes.
No, but as we close, just go ahead and anything else you want to share and give a word of encouragement, of empowerment to someone, maybe whether it's a young man that is watching, just a young woman, it doesn't matter, just someone that may be watching, a word of encouragement that you can give them, even as you give your closing thoughts and tell us where we can reach you and stuff like that. So my brother, take it away.
Thank you, Arlene. They could visit my official website at www.jamescbirdsongjr.net. It's www.jamescbirdsongjr.net. My official website is actually being updated, but it'll be back up this week with a brand new look. My booking information and news updates and additional information about yours truly is on this website. And for Birdsong Association of Broadcasting and Arts, the organization, you could log to www.babaofficial.org. That's www.babaofficial.org. And Arlene, you had asked me about upcoming projects. There's another heart's desire of mine. This has actually been a heart's desire of mine since I was in college. My next project is launching a gospel record company, and this gospel label is gonna help those aspiring artists, who went through the competition shows and other platforms, but they were turned away. I want to give them the opportunity to showcase the God-given talents on the national platform. Because me being an industry professional, God has blessed me. I've been blessed to know a lot of people in this industry, a lot of people connected and so forth. But I know how it could be from a political standpoint. So I want to do my part in that. As a label executive, in those areas. And I want to give words of encouragement to our young people. And I share this I've been sharing this all over the country, around the world. I tell them, if you have a dream, you could do it. If you put God first, because that was told to me as a child, and that remained in my heart all these years. I'll be 42 years old, May 16th coming up, and there's still a lot more that needs to be done. So there's been that foundational principle instilled in me by my parents and the teachers and elders that watched me grow up and push me. So if you always remember that, young people, as you surround yourself with positive minded people that's going to love you enough to tell you the truth, people that's going to believe you and push you. And if you get off track, they're going to help you to get back on track as a mentor and everything. I'm a strong believer in mentorships, and respect your elders. And if you always do that, then you will go very far in life and land like an eagle somewhere. And I want to tell all the parents, grandparents, foster parents, and the adults that's watching right now, love your children. It not just your children. It could be your grandchildren, a foster child, or a young person that that's not even related to you, because we are living in a different time now. And Generation Z, that's the generation after me, only be my children. They going through so much right now because they come from broken homes. The father's not in the home, and I can go on and on and on with this. So you may not agree with everything what they do, what they say. You may not agree with the kind of music that they listen to. Okay, yes, they're gonna listen to Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion. We know all that. But that doesn't give you the right to tell them, oh, you're a bad person, or tear them down. Because when you plant that in our young people, and I'm proud to preach to the choir right now, you're gonna plant that in them, and when they become adults, they're gonna remember those words and affect them. You should love our children and our young people and encourage them, not push them away and everything. Because you have to remember, I'm talking to the adults tonight. You was young once upon a time. You did things. Some of you did things worse than your children and grandchildren have done. Hello, somebody. But sometimes we forget that. So love our children, push them, appreciate them, because when you get old in age, they the ones who's gonna have to take care and help you out when everybody else said, I'm not gonna be here with you anymore. So that's what I would like to say. And because I'm very passionate about our young people, and wanting them to go somewhere in life, because they are the next Oprah Winfrey, Barack Obamas, and the next millionaires and everything on the list.
Yes. Wow, wow, wow. That's a great closing for everyone that's listening. And it's really true. You know, I have young children too, and it's a struggle. And the best we can do is to love on them and just be there for them, listen to them, and like you said, they may not do things the way that we like, but love them anyway. So thank you for that. Those words of encouragement, those words of empowerment. And guys, it was a really, really great day. And I just want to thank God. We have been speaking to Dr. James C. Birdsong. He's an award-winning gospel music industry professional. And just last year, he won the Impact Award, Antigua and Bermuda Gospel Media Awards with my friend Stancher over there in Antigua. And I just want to say thank you to everyone that put aside Sunday evening or goes back and watch the show and shares it and encourages me to keep going. As those that pour into us, those that help us, even if our nonprofit Restore to Empower. I want to thank God for all the different companies that pour into us and help us that we can keep doing what we're doing. Because now we know that we're in the cold season and there are people out there that are cold, so we're gonna be back out there helping them. So I want to give God thanks for this opportunity. Thank God for my husband, my children, and everyone that's supporting us. Next month is Black History Month, so we're going to see how we can put some people from history on the show. But remember, every Sunday at 7 o'clock, the Imagine Me TV show, Real Talk, Real Issues. If you have a story that you want to share, that something that you have overcome, a trial test that you have gone through, but there you are, you have overcome, and you want to empower the public, whether you're a young person, an older person, we want to hear your story, and we may just invite you to come on the show. I know we have a lot of people that's coming on the next show, but hey, we'll find a place to plug you in. So once again, I want to say thank you. God bless you. Today's Sunday night. I pray that you have a wonderful week, and no matter what you're going through, and I'm preaching to the choir too, just begin to confess it that this is going to be a wonderful week. Everything is going to work out the way it is supposed to work out. Give God the glory, give God the praise. Don't waste your time worrying about the things that are not happening or that might not happen. Reach for your dreams, step out in faith, trust God, and imagine me. If you can just imagine it, God has placed it in you, you can do it. This is the Imagine Me Show. I'm your host, ArthyLLL, saying good night and have a wonderful week.